Hi, this is Ed from Wright, and it's right before Christmas of 2021, and I just want to wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Today we're going to talk about used mowers, depreciation, life cycle cost, what's the sweet spot for that operating life of a machine. So first off, what I have here is a bunch of used mower prices on the market for a particular style mower. And I have a curve that fits through all those dots. And so let's look at some examples. This dot right here would be a $4,000 asking price for a 1,000-hour machine. Over here we have $4,000 asking price for like a 2,400-hour machine, right? So this curve, like most things, when you buy it new, it depreciates more quickly earlier in its life, and as it goes on, the curve flattens out. And for most commercial mowers, as long as they're still running, I mean, they typically don't go under $1,200 or $1,000 for a larger commercial machine. Now this curve, we want it to be as straight as possible. We want it to start low and end high. That's our mission in life, because the lower that machine is up front, the better value you get. The higher the value of the machine near to the end of its life is a machine that it's either more effective, it's still useful, or you can trade it in for more money, right? And so we're always trying to flatten this curve out. This curve is actually very flat, I'll tell you that. If you were to look at a lighter duty piece of prosumer or consumer equipment, it might start somewhere here at a lower price, but that line will just drop straight off to 500 or 750 hours, just straight on down. But your commercial equipment really hangs out over here. Examples of things that we might do to move where this curve sits is tweels. So tweels will actually hold their residual value very well towards the end of their life. That would be an example. Oil guard might do that as well, although that'll affect the maintenance cost as well, which we're going to talk about in a second, or reduce the maintenance cost. Now, just for those of you who are interested in the math, just take a quick look at that. So if you take price as a function of hours, the used price is generally the new price for that same style machine exponent to this number times the hours that are on the machine. That'll get you pretty close to an asking price. Obviously, if you're going to trade in, it's probably going to be $1,200 to $1,500 less than that. Private party, typically you'll get negotiated down maybe $750 or $1,000 from asking price. But this would be used asking prices. The interesting thing is if you take this same number, you take log over 2, natural log over 2, times the hours, you get around 1,300 hours is the half-life of the machine. So that's also a pretty easy rule of thumb. If we go back to this curve here, you'll see that around 1,300 hours is where this $12,000 machine came down to about $6,000. So that's, if you're kicking around used equipment, 1,300 hours, it would be around half the price of new equipment. The other thing to note is that when new prices go up, which is something that's happening a huge amount in the market today, when the new prices go up $500, $1,000, $1,500 or whatever, typically the used mower prices are going to go up by almost the same amount. This curve generally rises all together when that's happening. And I'll tell you, this year has been crazy on the cost of production. Steel is more than 3 times as expensive as it used to be. Now, we're going to shift gears here and look at repair costs, which is the opposite of your depreciation, right? The machine just loses value over time, but it costs more to maintain it over time. So your cumulative maintenance goes up, right? If it was completely the same maintenance through the whole life of this machine, it would be a perfectly straight line. We're gaming the system and doing a better job when this curve sags out here and tapers up at a shallower slope than a 45-degree angle. And this curve here will be flatter and lay further out here. Again, when you have something like tweels, you're going to have less repair costs over time. Oil guard, it's going to be less oil changes. The oil runs cooler in the engine. Those types of things are going to run this curve out here a little bit more. Now, the thing about this is the punchline. If you take these two curves against each other, what's the sweet spot? Well, generally you buy a new piece of equipment and you have a little bit higher depreciation up front, but you didn't have much maintenance cost. They kind of cancel out, and it goes down, 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 down. And then somewhere out here, those maintenance costs start picking up. And generally right under 2,000 hours, or maybe 1,800 hours. Somewhere right in this range tends to be the sweet spot to trade in a piece of equipment if you don't mind doing a certain amount of repair and maintenance. Certainly, if you want to never have any maintenance on your machine, any major repairs, we have people that'll trade in 1,000 hours or 1,200 hours, somewhere right in here. So you're going to have a little higher depreciation, but your downtime is going to be very, very low. Now, through here, you get your best value. You might be making some more periodic repairs to those machines, but right before that first engine begins to get closer to the need of an overhaul is typically where your best trade-in point is. Now, if you are pretty handy and you love repairing stuff and you don't mind keeping a piece of backup equipment and those types of things, then your sweet spot would be not where the depreciation is slightly steeper up here, right after that point. So maybe 750 to 1,200 hours would be your buy point, and then you might run it out to 2,500 hours, especially if you're keeping a close eye on that engine. It's still running good, but it's got a lot of hours on it. Then maybe you sell right before that here, or you go ahead and repower it and you just keep on running it out through the second engine. Would be that sweet spot. So either kind of here or here. But I'll tell you, most folks who are really about invoicing more jobs and opportunity cost, you're going to want to buy new and run it down through about here. That's going to be the sweet spot where you make the most money and you're focusing on getting a ton done. Hopefully this was helpful to you. If you got any questions, put them in the comments. We'd be glad to discuss.